Welcome back, and even before we delve into the other issues, we bring you this story about another journalist who has found himself on the wrong side of the law, so to speak. Bubi Ansah of Accra 100.5 FM hosted the Citizen Show and was apprehended by the police right after that. We'll bring you details of why exactly that happened. Joseph Akable is at the Accra Central Police Station, where in fact he was kept. We have this report.
Broadcaster Kwabena Bubi Ansah, we understand, is being held at the Accra Central Police Station. It's not clear at this stage whether charges have been leveled or what exactly he's been accused of. But from what we have picked up from a few of his colleagues, he was picked up shortly after ending his political show on the Accra-based radio station. We understand he was taken initially to the Nima police station where he spent the night. Then early on Friday morning, he was moved over here to the Accra Central Police Station. He's been specifically held at the Striking Force Division, where the charge office specifically is where he's being kept. A few of his colleagues who spent the night at the Nima police station are also at the Central Police Station here to monitor proceedings. We understand from our sources within the police that a statement may be issued in the course of the day, either at the regional level or at the national police, with regards to the events leading to this particular incident. And this has happened at a time in a space of 7 days where we have seen first a journalist of Power FM being sentenced to spend 14 days in jail by a court here in Accra. Again, we've also seen the executive director of Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, also being charged for publication of false news. These are isolated and unconnected events, but they will definitely form the base of a lot of the discussions that will take place in the coming hours. For joining us from the Accra Central Police Station, Joseph Akable reporting.
Joseph Akable. But there's a statement from the Ghana Police Service, and you can see it on your screens now. It says, Kwabena Bubi Ansah arrested for publication of false news, and Mr. Kwabena Bubi Ansah of Accra FM was arrested yesterday, February 10, 2022, by the Accra Regional Police Command in connection with an alleged case of publication of false news and offensive conduct. His arrest became necessary after he turned down several invitations from the police to him and others involved in the case to assist with investigation. The Accra Regional Police Command will issue a full statement on the matter in due course. And this was, of course, on the social media page of the Ghana Police Service. Interesting that we're having another case of publication of false news. As intimated by my colleague Joseph Akable, we had an earlier incident with Mensa Thompson of ASEPA also being cited for publication of false news. For him, it had to do with a suggestion some time back that the president's children were using a luxurious private jet, had traveled in that to the UK at the expense of Ghana. So those are the details we can bring you for now on the back of this incident, and as and when the police service comes out with fuller details, we shall bring them to you. So having brought you that, we move on now to the UTAG conversation. We have joining us Dr. Samuel Bert Bwedikusi, UTAG president at the University of Cape Coast. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
It's been a while. How have you been?
I'm doing well, my brother. Yes, I hope you are doing well too.
I am very well. And the UTAG front, how do you say you've been over the last few days? I know you've not been speaking much on the back of recent developments. How has UTAG been faring?
Yeah, I would say that it's been at least it's been a bit progressive. Unfortunately, we've not been able to converge from our various points of views. From UTAG as well as from the employer side. And so, apart from that, I would have said that everything has been very cordial and a bit more progressive than it used to be.
Right. Now, on the 8th and the 10th, you had some meetings at the conference room of the Ministry of Education. And of course, UTAG was there. That is your negotiations or your negotiating committee the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Finance, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, GTAG, the Vice Chancellor's Ghana, and the Minister for National Security. What can you tell us about what developed in that meeting, what the outcome was?
Yes, thank you, my brother. What I can say is that, as you rightly indicated, we've had 2 meetings, all the people, all the powers that you can think of, all the stakeholders needed to be in the meeting were present. There has been that acknowledged employer side to say that we acknowledge that your demands are okay, are genuine, and we want to do something about it. Our demands are genuine, and they want to do something about it. And so, for me, that is good. That is progressive. UTAG have to do something about it. Can we know exactly what you are putting on the table based on what our request is, or what our demand is? The employer has maintained that we are not negotiating. So if
Well, it appears we're struggling with your line, Dr. Bwedi-Kusi. So what we're going to do is we're going to call Doc on phone and get better details about what exactly transpired. An important point he was making, the fact that government, or at least the employer, admitted that the concerns of the University Teachers Association of Ghana were genuine, and that they had to do something to meet these demands being made. The question is whether UTAG was satisfied with this stance. At least in earlier interactions with Dr. Bwedi-Kusi, he has said that the approach has not exactly been what they would have expected, that some admissions had to be made. And so it is a positive development. Doc, welcome back. So it's a positive development that at least they are acknowledging that your demands are genuine. You can take off from where you left off.
Yeah, sorry, could you come again?
Yeah, so I'm saying that at least there's been an admission that the demands you are making are in the right direction. You were also making a point on the back of that before we lost you. You can continue with your train of thought.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, so once there is that acknowledgement, I say that it's very progressive. Unfortunately, what we are at a point, as I said earlier, where we have not been able to converge. Now, if I say we have not been able to converge, it's simply to say that UTAG is saying that we have given a proposal or a demand or made a request. Can we also know exactly what you have for us? Can you put something on the table so that at least we could go and convince our members that, look, yes, government is ready to talk, and we know that once we begin the talking, we will not be made worse off. And that has been a challenge, yes, because coming from our recent history and coming from what has transpired in the past, it appears that there is some level of mistrust on both parts. The government side has a difficulty completely opening up, and then UTAG has a difficulty also accepting exactly what the employer side is also saying. And so, unfortunately, that is where we have been. Yesterday, for instance, the Minister of National Security, as you mentioned, was in the meeting to make a plea to the side of UTAG and all that. But eventually, that unfortunately still did not was not enough to be able to convince the UTAG side to say that, look, we will suspend the industrial action and come and negotiate. And so we are at a point where I think that where we are, it's more of issues of trust and the law at play. And so we are hoping that in the coming days, as the judge indicated, we will be able to at least converge at a point, because I think the judge is restraining himself from having to make pronouncements, and that is why he is insisting that we continue on the path of dialogue and find a solution before we come back on Tuesday.
Right. We'll be getting into further details about what else emanated from this meeting and what we can look to ahead of Tuesday. But we're also joined by Emmanuel Boakye-Yadom, president of NUCS. Thank you for joining the conversation. You were not at this meeting.
You're welcome.
Were you?
Come again.
You were not privy to this meeting between the Vice Chancellor's Ghana, the Ministry of Education, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Finance, Ministry of Finance, and UTAG. You didn't have any representation at this meeting, did you?
Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers, especially Ghanaian students. We were very much aware that VC Ghana will be stepping in to salvage the situation or to help bring finality to this whole issue. Yes, so in as much as we were not present at the meeting, we are very much aware some sort of a meeting will be happening. And we are only hoping and waiting for a good decision to come out from it.
Now, looking at what you heard from that meeting, no conclusivity. The teachers still are on strike. Do you feel it was worth it, this entire engagement, because you're still where you are?
Times without number, I keep saying this whole up and down is on the issues of trust. And even in our press conference, we stated it. And just now, Dr. Bondi Kusi has also confirmed it. Both parties do not trust each other. That the words from Party A can be entrusted. They are saying this, and indeed, they are going to do it. And that of Party B also do not trust Party A that, okay, you said this, and you are going to make sure you do that. Yes, so where we are now, trust issues is the major problem of what is going on now. But I believe if they would want to come up with a compromise, if they would want to come up with a decision, they themselves, they do know very well that they can reach one as soon as possible. But for we Ghanaian students, I must say all that we are hoping and waiting for is our lecturers are back to campus for teaching and learning to continue. That is what we are waiting for and hoping to hear.
These issues of trust that you speak of, how do you think the employer especially can make inroads into UTAG leadership? How do you think it can be dealt with from the ends of both the employer, government, and UTAG as the affected party?
As we speak now, I think the bone of contention has been with the implementation of the labor market survey, and it is the labor market survey that has brought this issue. So we have also recommended that the government should take urgent steps in seeing to it that the labor market survey has been implemented. After its implementation, I believe our lecturers will be very okay. Our lecturers will get to know at least this is what we were fighting for, and we've been able to get it. If not fully, they've been able to achieve something. But that notwithstanding, my government, our lecturers should also get to understand and appreciate the fact that the labor market survey implementation wouldn't be a day's work. It will definitely take months for it to be effective. So we would keep pleading with them that they take us into consideration and then listen to our pleas and our cries and return back to classrooms, because it hasn't been easy for us. It has been very tough and it has been very stressing for us as well.
Let me just run this by you. I hear on some of your campuses, students have started going back home. I mean, schools have been shut for about a month, and some students have left for home on the back of rising cost of feeding and all of that. How much can you tell us about that? How much do you know about it?
Yes, schools have not been shut down, or schools have not been shut. School is still in session.
I am not suggesting that schools have been shut down.
Campus,
my suggestion is that some students are alleged to have left campus.
Because schools have been shut.
No, that's not what I said.
That is what you said.
So, Emmanuel, just focus. The point is, schools have not been shut down. If you can just let me make this point. I'm not insinuating the schools have been shut down. I'm saying that for about 4 weeks, the teachers have not been there. If I said that schools have been shut down, then that was a slip of mind. But the schools have not been on operation. Teachers have not been teaching. Sure. And some students are leaving campus, just to clarify. And what is your take on that? Have you heard of these incidents of students leaving campus because of the cost of feeding and all of that? And how do you react to it?
Students leaving campus to their various homes. I think some are going for reasons best known to them that we as a union, we can't have control over. Even when school is in session, students can still leave to their various giving without being questioned as to why they are leaving. So this is not anything new for us, that at a point in time, Ghanaian students may want to leave to their various homes for 1 or 2 reasons or something. But as we speak now, I think our focus, our attention, the discussion should be geared towards what will make UTAG return to the classrooms. And I believe strongly that if all voices are geared towards that discussion, there will be a solution.
Let me come to you, Dr. Bert Gwedikusi. You've had ceaseless interactions with the NLC, with the employer, and now the courts keep telling you to go and resolve your situation outside of the court room. The latest that you have to deal with now is 15th of this month. That is Tuesday. How do you feel about that entire development? Do you just want the court to get on with it, or are you hopeful that by the 15th you could have come to some resolution, positive resolution?
Well, let me say that this morning the National Executive Committee of UTAG will meet and discuss this whole matter. I mean, personally, my personal view, not this time the position of UTAG, my personal view is that the judge has given us enough time to dialogue. And it will be good for us not to now subject ourselves to the courts to tell us what to do. But of course,
could you just repeat that the judge has done what specifically? I'm
saying that my personal view is that we should be able to find a solution rather than allowing the judge to finally rule or tell us exactly what to do. Right. I think that would mean that we have not been able to move from our individual positions. But this is my personal view. But on the whole, what I would say is that we will need to, build some level of trust and move away. Each side will have to give up something. If you to have to take some level of assurance, some level of undertaking or anything from the employer side, or any other options available to assure the union that, look, this is what we want to do. We are committed, where we will submit to the judge and say that, look, this is what we have, both parties have been able to agree. So allow us to go into the negotiation and then arrive at something and bring it back to you. Whichever way it's possible. My hope is that between now and Tuesday, we should be able to build some level of trust, and then each side should be able to give up something so that we can move on and negotiate and get something out of this, rather than going the full haul of the legal action. Because I don't think that litigation is the best way so far as this whole industrial action is concerned. And so I'm hoping that between the weekend and the early part of next week, something good will come out of these discussions. Other than that, we would have to know where. Then we have to get ourselves to the court and then let the court proceed.
Right, but why exactly do you feel the legal, point or litigating in court is not the best way?
Well, you see, the point is that granted that and again here I do not speak for the generality of, but the point is that granted that we go the full hall and the court says, UTAG, you have won. That is good. We would have made a strong statement that we have won. But at the end of the day, even if we win, it is going back to negotiate because it is the money we are interested in. If we lose, we are still interested in the money. So I feel that, and then if the government side should win, yes, we will still. They have acknowledged that the UTAG deserves something. If the government side should lose or should win, is the same scenario. So it comes back to, and of course there are different opinions on this, but the point that it comes down to is that we have to negotiate and get. Not necessarily. I use negotiation in quotes, or let me say that we have to dialogue to get the lecturers what they are asking for, and so it's important that both sides give up something. So that and as I have said, it is a matter of trust, because UTAG feels that, and when I say UTAG feels that, it's not as if I'm taking myself out. That is the position of UTAG, that in the past certain things have not gone the way we want, and so it's just difficult to take word of mouth and go back to our members and tell them that, well, they have committed that they are going to negotiate and get at something. That is in itself is not assuring enough, but we believe that as we move forward, maybe we can have some other options that are more acceptable. As I said, if it has to be an undertaking that the employer side would commit and say that we want to do this, and UTAG will feel that is assuring enough to be able to tell our members that we need to move on, or otherwise. Other than that, it's a very complex matter. It's a very complex matter. So when it comes to trust issues.
Do you feel that trust can be built as of this time? Your trust has been, you've been burnt a number of times. Do you feel it can be built before Tuesday so that you can have some sort of arrangement?
Yeah, I have always maintained that of course, where there's a will, there's always a way. And being part of the leadership of UTAG and having been in all these meetings, I see that will is there. And so I believe that it is possible depending on how the talking is done, depending on how the appeals are made, depending on the level of assurances. I'm sure the employer side will say that, but we have given you all the assurances. Yes, that is true. They have done what they have to do. Unfortunately, that has not done the magic. So possibly a little extra mile in terms of possibly some level of documentation and all that. Some of these things have come to the fore. We need to look at, can we get a framework? I recall the employer side talking about, can we get a framework in place and all that? Yes, but the challenge with UTAG taking the framework is that in the past there has been such frameworks which were not adhered to, and so I believe that with a little extra work, we should be able to get over this.
Okay. Right before I come back to Boakye Yadom, he had pointed out initially that you ought to be willing to make some concessions from both sides. And you have also re-echoed that, Dr. Boedi Kusi. What concessions exactly is UTAG willing to make in this deliberation? What concessions are you willing to make? What are you willing to let go of or cede or, massage a bit so that you can return to the classroom?
Well, we have indicated that we are ready to return to the classroom, provided we have a fair idea of what the counter position or what the counter position of the employer is to our proposal, right? So we have considered on those grounds. These are concessions we have made that, look, it's not as if we are taking an entrenched position that we are not going, but let us know something from your end. Even if you don't want to, because in all these things we are not negotiating. Honestly, we are not negotiating. If we were negotiating, these discussions will not be led by the Minister of Education. So once we are not negotiating, it is difficult to say that at all costs bring your proposal. But the caveat is that because we are in difficult times, and we find ourselves in a state of mistrust, can we have something on the table to be able to then take to our members, or even if you don't want to put it generally across, can we have something, I mean, a range of figures or a range of, or a percentage-wise counter, where we know that at least if we call off, we are starting from XYZ. The employer side counters that argument and say that, look, once you are not negotiating, it is difficult to put anything on the table. And so for me, that is where we stand. That is the path we need to cross. While the employer is coming from the legal point of view, saying that once we are not negotiating, we cannot put X on the table or to your counter offer. The union is saying that we think that it should be possible for us to be able to get, I mean, our members along, and for them to also, our members to trust us, that indeed we are not just taking word of mouth without, I mean, any high level of assurance, just to come to you and say that let's call off after this number of weeks, simply because we have had the assurance that now the employer side is ready to negotiate. Basically, that is the hurdle we need to cross. And I think that each side has a case, but we should be able to get over this within the shortest possible time.
Emmanuel, is this some good assurance for you, listening to Dr. Wedikusi make mention of this, that they are willing to make concessions? How hopeful does that make you?
I think I think this is a good news coming from Dr. Wedikusi. We are hoping that at the end of the day, there will be such a peaceful resolution or such a peaceful outcome after their meetings. But just as we keep saying that if they begin to regain the trust they have for themselves, I believe strongly that in the shortest possible time, this whole UTAG government brouhaha would come to an end. But I would want to ask Dr. something. I think with the whole negotiations and everything going on, UTAG has always emphasized that the ministry or government representatives have not been able to, let's say, table any offer, or has not been able to make any offer increment. We can do this. But Doc, I would want to ask, what sort of offer or what sort of percentage increment will be okay for UTAG? Because as we speak now, 114% has been tabled by UTAG, and so now we've not known the side of the government what they would want to do. So if we can have a gist of it, we can have an idea of it, I think that can be able to help the ministry, Labor and Employment Ministry, and then the Labor, Fair Wages and Labor Commission to also come up with something that may suit what our UTAG leaders would want for their members, and then the entire UTAG, for everyone to be very happy with everything.
Yeah. So, thank you very much, my younger brother. Let me say that, I mean, these are matters that are being, I mean, discussed at the table, and we have gone into the details at the table. We have made the proposals officially to the side of the employer, so they are aware of exactly what the issues are. And so the only thing which is missing at this point is what normally at the table we'll talk about in terms of the counter offer. So somebody makes an offer, somebody makes a proposal, and then the union makes a proposal, the employer side says that, oh, we think that that is true on the higher side, this is what we are willing to offer. So that is the element which is missing. But in terms of what percentage is acceptable or not, I cannot, as an individual, mention that this is what is acceptable. These are things that are done at the table by a team, looking at the computations, looking at all the factors that we are looking at. And so it's done at the table. And so as an individual member of the team, it will be difficult for me to say X or Y is that which is acceptable, especially when you do not even know what the offer from the other side is.
Question answered, Emmanuel?
Yeah, I do get Dr. very well.
Okay.
So, Doc, for us,
So, Emmanuel, you can chip
we are
in
hoping
maybe
and
a
praying
final
that,
bit to Dr. Bwedi Kusi, if you may. I think he lost you there because the connection was not so good.
Sure. Yeah, what I'm saying is, on our part, as students and as student leaders, we are only hoping and praying that by the end of the day, you would hear that our lectures are back to the classroom. Yeah. So, Doc, can there be an assurance that maybe within this day, within this week, UTAG would, let's say, try, because with the introduction of VC Ghana coming in to help the situation, I believe it's something that may fasten the whole processes. But can there be an assurance that this whole new introduction to the resolution and others, can it be of a better use?
Yes, I lost him a bit. But if I got you, you are looking at some assurance as to the way to go. I don't know if that is correct.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, it's part of the questions I asked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's part of the questions I asked.
Okay. No. In terms of the way forward and assurances to students and to the Ghanaian public, it's something that UTAG is very much concerned and worried about. But of course, as I keep saying, where we have gotten to, it's a collective thing, both on the side of UTAG as well as on the side of the employer. So we hope that, as the Honorable Judge has indicated, we would be able to work within this shortest period and get out of this more or less this stalemate that we find ourselves in.
Okay.
And get back within the shortest possible time.
To wrap the conversation very briefly from both of you as we wrap this conversation, to you, Emmanuel. So we saw yesterday, for example, the coalition of concerned university students joining a demonstration. If come Tuesday there's still no resolution, is that a medium you are contemplating using as membership of NUCS?
Demonstration is our last option.
It's your last option.
As we speak now, we are not through with, let's say, our dialoguing or our negotiation processes. The next option for us is to petition the highest office of the country, that is the office of the president. So if maybe as soon as possible there is no resolution out of the various meetings that government representatives and that of UTAG will be having, we would have no other option left than to petition that of the president. And we are hopeful. We have the trust in the Minister of Education and then the remaining labor agencies and then government representatives. And then we also have that trust and belief in the UTAG leadership as well as UTAG members that if a good offer is being placed, they will definitely accept it and return back to the classroom. But as we speak now, we would continue to beg and plead with them that at this material moment, they should, as a matter of urgency, reach a compromise and return back to the classrooms for us.
Emmanuel Boakye-Adam is NUCS president, and Dr. Bert Bwedi Kusi is president of UTAG at the University of Cape Coast campus. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much.
Right. Now, did you know that the income of a young entrepreneur from some selected businesses is exempt from taxes for 5 years? Any young entrepreneur engaged in manufacturing, information and communications technology, agro-processing, energy production, waste processing, tourism and creative arts, horticulture and medicinal plants does not need to pay any income tax on these activities for their first 5 years of operation. A young entrepreneur engaged in business that enjoys an initial 5-year concession benefits from the following applicable tax rates for an additional 5 years. If you are in Accra and Tema, it is 15%. In other regional capitals outside of the northern regions, it is 12.5%. Outside other regional capitals, it is 10%. And for the 3 northern regions, it is 5%. You probably want more clarity and information on this. All you have to do is get to the nearest GRA office, that is the Ghana Revenue Authority, and have them give you the requisite details. Ghana Revenue Authority, integrity, fairness, and service. And speaking of service, this is what we're here to do as we bring you independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Another day has come to an end in terms of the show, but Monday will bring you more to look forward to. Don't you forget, we have our bulletins at 10 and at noon as we bring you further developments. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Thank you for joining me on the AM show, and do have a super day.